Good morning, everybody. It is a very, very rainy day today. It's actually kind of cold too. I put on my winter coat. I don't think I'll necessarily need my winter coat, but it's very cold and rainy today. Feels a lot like Washington. Here it rains there all the time. But I kind of wanted to come on and just do a transition. I would like to start making more videos other than just car videos. I would like to do videos where I can focus more on a series. I was, I think 2 or 3 days ago, I was just thinking like more of what I want for this channel. And I was thinking to myself that I want something like more about end times and not necessarily to, freak people out, but I want to chat more about the end times. I want to talk more about the end times, talk more about how people can get prepared, because I just see the world really spiraling down. And not to sound negative, like there obviously are certain positive things that are going on, but I really, really feel like we are getting closer and closer to the end times, because I just see how violent, how ridiculous, how aggressive people are nowadays. And I see just the youth being corrupted. I see people that are just having complete false doctrine. A lot of churches are not teaching the truth. They're just keeping it very surface level, or very like lukewarm messages. They're not really like talking about the word and really getting deeper and going deeper. There's a lot of people that are getting caught in scandals. People are not talking about sin and repentance. A lot of people are not prepared for what is going to come in these end times. How they're pushing the digital ID on people so they can keep track of you. I mean, that's creepy. I was at Whole Foods the other day, and you can like scan your palm or something in order to like get your food. These are all signs that are leading up to the mark of the beast, and I think I'm going to be focusing, at least for this month, coming soon, maybe like a little bit of May, but the rest of like starting in June, I really want to focus on end times. I want to focus on how can we recognize we're in the end times, how can we really be prepared. And it's not about, fear mongering or making people have to start becoming preppers and they got to get all this food and get all these things, although that's good to have, especially with the economy. It's possible we could be entering a Great Depression as well, just with how things are looking in the economy and everything. So I think I really want to start talking more about videos and doing teachings about how we can prepare. Yeah, some physical stuff like making sure you have enough food, maybe trying to grow your own food. I'm by no means a homesteader or a prepper, so I'm not really going to go too much into that detail. I'm not necessarily knowledgeable or skilled in that area, but how we can prepare practical, but also how we can prepare spiritually, because a lot of darkness is coming over the world, especially in the United States. I live in the United States, and it's very, very dark. And with the war going on in Iran and all these celebrities coming out and these Epstein scandals, and there's just a lot of darkness in the world. And I think it's really important to start talking about what it is we can do to prepare, making sure that we are spiritually prepared, that we are. I did a slight car video, I think a few months ago, about the 5 wise virgins who had their oil ready. lighting their lamp, and that will kind of tie into getting ready for the end times, getting ready for Christ's return. Some people are pre-trib, some people are like post-trib, some people believe that Jesus comes back kind of in the middle, so that Christians will still go through tribulation and suffering. So there's like three main different theological differences. I think that Christians will go through some aspects of suffering and tribulation. I don't think that they're necessarily going to be here for the wrath or anything like that, but I do think that God is going to test the true loyalty of Christians. You know, it's kind of like, I do believe that there will be some rapture, but I don't think that people are just going to be raptured without having to go through some tribulation. There are some Christians in other countries that are dying, particularly Nigeria. They're dying for their faith, while in the States, people have it very easy, and they complain because they don't like the coffee they serve in morning service, or I don't like the worship, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. And why aren't they teaching about things that are relevant in the world today? Meanwhile, and even in China, people are getting persecuted for being Christians. North Korea, the Middle East, countries in Africa, even parts of South America. And it's just kind of ridiculous to me that we would think we can live comfortably and then Jesus will just come back and rapture us. Meanwhile, other people are being martyred and persecuted for their faith. So, like, why would we not go through that as Americans? So that's just personally what I believe, my theological stance. I'm not here to debate or try to push my theological stance on other people, but that's just what I personally believe. So I'm going to be teaching. I mean, this is my YouTube channel, so I can say what I want to. I can, you know, as long as I'm backing things up with scripture. But my personal perspective is that we will endure some tribulation, and I think that it's important to be prepared for that. I think it's important to be, you know, having your eyes open and not being asleep, and paying attention and really start watching things. You know, Jesus tells us to be watchful and pray. So constantly just watching and paying attention, because times are going to get dark. I mean, I know things come and flow, especially with the economy, but I just don't really foresee everything getting drastically better. I think that things eventually are going to get worse. Inflation is at an all-time high right now. A lot of people can't afford basic necessities. They can't afford housing. They can't afford rent. They're living in their cars. And these are people that are working full-time jobs too, and they still can't afford rent. They can't afford groceries and basic health care, even with insurance, co-pays. If you needed surgery, they're going to drastically charge you for that. Even with good health insurance from your job, you're going to be paying like, what, $10,000, $20,000 if you got a major surgery to do or you have a terminal illness. It's going to just drain you. And I just don't foresee things necessarily getting better, and it's not to be negative, but I just don't. It's prophetic, it's prophecy. Things are not going to get better. Like, eventually this world is passing by, and this, as Christians, like, this world is not our home, so we shouldn't get too attached to it and put all of our faith in this world. That's why we have to continue to, you know, set that quiet time, set that time aside for the Lord, and being in quiet time, being in the Word, being in prayer, taking quiet time. If you speak in tongues, try to do that, even if it's just for 2 minutes. Like, I just do 2 minutes. But it charges your spiritual man. It's like the spirit that's in you needs a battery, and it needs to be plugged in, and you have to constantly keep that battery charged. Otherwise, it just starts to run low, and then sometimes your phone just temporarily is dead, and you need to go ahead and charge it. And it's the same with our walk. So I will be doing kind of a series about talking more about the end times, how can we be prepared, things that are happening in the world. There's a lot of darkness, and a lot of darkness that's been going on with politicians, Hollywood actors, in Hollywood in general. A lot of darkness is coming to the light. And Jesus promises that eventually the truth is going to come out. And the devil wants to lie and hide and use all these high up people for his purposes, but the Lord is raising up his army to use for his purposes. He's raising up those who are called to the fivefold ministry. He's raising up leaders. He's raising up prophets, apostles, teachers, pastors, evangelists, missionaries, people that are going and serving the poor, people that are really laboring for Christ. You're going to see more of them. I mean, I'm amazed. I go on TikTok and I see all these people that are talking about the truth. A lot of these Hollywood stars, they're evil and they're hiding things, and they are doing absolutely horrendous things to children, all the child trafficking. It's really bad. And sometimes I try not to watch the news, but it does wear on my heart. And we need to start talking about these things. We need to start talking about how we're going to keep our children safe. I mean, I'm pregnant, I'm due in December, and these are things that I really think about, like how to keep kids safe, like nowadays. How do we keep our family together, keeping our marriage together? And I know that's kind of a different topic, but that can tie into the end times, because the devil is out to destroy these institutions. He wants to destroy marriages. He wants to make women very masculine and very argumentative and rude, and he wants to make men passive, not leaders, submitting to these domineering Jezebel women, and the orders get reversed. Everything becomes inverted, and then people don't want to start families, and it's part of the end times. It ties into it because you can just see a lot of the destruction that's going on. So I do want to start talking more about the end times. I will do practical things to start getting prepared, but really doing more spiritual things. And it's kind of hard because when I'm driving, I don't have my Bible out, so I can't reference a lot of like scriptures. Obviously, I have some scriptures memorized, but I just can't, go through all of the word and do that. But I want people to feel like they're prepared. I have to get myself prepared. I mean, there's certain things that I just love the convenience of Amazon and ChatGPT, and even when you log into, like, check your bank account or check your email, like, you can use Face ID, which is facial recognition, and that makes things really convenient because you don't have to memorize a password, but you have to really make sure that you're not becoming so dependent on the system, because it starts slow, and then sooner or later people don't think it's a big deal to get a digital ID, and then they start scanning your face, and then they start tracking you and have all like this information, and it's creepy. All this AI stuff that wants to track people, that wants to like take over. I mean, I saw a billboard in New York that says, "Oh, AI is the new human race" or something, and it kind of reminds me of like those movies like iRobot and like Terminator and all these like movies that come out where the robots become really smart. And I'm starting to wonder if that's going to happen. Not even I'm starting to wonder. I know eventually that's going to happen. Like, the machines might get smarter than people. Same in the movie in The Matrix. I feel like they're trying to show us what's going to come, and it's important that we're not getting too reliant on ChatGPT. We're not getting too reliant on AI. I mean, you look around and people have their heads buried in their phones. They don't look up. They like struggle to maintain eye contact, to talk to people, to socialize, because people are always in their phones, and that makes you dependent on the phone. Eventually, you're not using your full potential of your brain because you're just relying so much on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. And I've done it too, and I'm trying to reduce the amount of times I go to ChatGPT, because you need to use your own brain. God gave you a brain for a reason, so it's very important to use it. Sorry, every time I go on this like road road curve thing to get on the highway, my phone just goes all over the place. So I'm trying to keep it stayed. But yeah. So just be prepared for some of the series I'm going to start posting and really start talking about the end times, how to get prepared, how do we be spiritually ready for Christ's return, how do we get our hearts ready for trials, tribulations, persecutions, because they are coming. It's not just persecution of like they want to cancel culture you if you don't agree with mainstream media, if you don't agree with what they're trying to push with this liberal agenda. They want to censor you. The persecution will be worse, and a lot of people are not ready for that. They're not spiritually ready. They're not physically ready. I mean, everybody says that they'll be ready and they want to die for Christ, but do you even have the courage to do the little things? You know, sharing the gospel, standing firm at your job. And I've had to question myself, because there were times that I struggled to talk about Jesus, or I was ashamed because I was trying to, you know, fit in, or especially at work, because it's my job and I have to be very careful about, you know, not talking so much about like faith, because it's a secular job and they don't like when you talk too much about that, or you have so much diversity and people that have all different kinds of beliefs that you can really get yourself into trouble if you're not careful. So, but yeah, I've had to struggle with that too. Like, I want to be more bold for my faith, but I also have to be wise and discerning. But eventually it's going to come a point, like, you cannot serve two masters. You can't love the world or love money or love your job more than Christ. Like, you can't love the things of this world and you want fancy things and nice gifts and you want to live in a big house and you want to just be all about like your body and your image, and you're going to have to choose. And eventually, like, people who follow Christ are going to be ostracized from society. And I've had dreams about that where I'm running from, you know, I'm an enemy of the state simply because of my faith, and there will be times that it starts to become like that. And Christians already like get a bad reputation. I mean, I just listen to people and it's like, oh, because there's a lot of Christians, I don't want to move there. I'm like, do you know any Christians? Like, have you been hurt by Christians? Like, not all Christians are like that. How would you feel if I said, oh, I don't want to move to a certain community because there's a certain group of people like that? And it's just the hypocrisy and the irony is just like, it's just so crazy to me. But I wanted to just come on and let you guys know that and give you a little bit of an encouragement. I'm sure we're all feeling, you know, how difficult it is with the inflation and the economy and just trying to survive. I mean, it's hard. It's very difficult to live off of one income unless you live like in an extremely cheap state in the US, or you live in a different country that's very, very affordable. But most people still have to work. They can't make it on just one income. And so that puts a lot of stress on raising children, on raising the family, because you have two people that are just working constantly all the time, and it's tough. It's tough, but I want to start making more videos to help a lot of you get prepared. And even for myself, I'm not standing on my high horse and, you know, thinking I'm better. I have to remind myself too. I have to get myself ready. So I want to make more teachings about that. You know, I am a prophet, and I am called to be an end times prophet or prophetess. God has made that very clear. I do focus on other things and practical things as well, because I am a very practical person, and I like to talk about daily life struggles, but I am an end times prophetess, and so it is also my responsibility and part of my calling to talk about the end times and really getting people spiritually prepared, to really help people grow in their walk, to know Christ, to go deeper. That is my calling, so I do want to start focusing more on that. So this video is almost 20 minutes, so I will let you guys go soon, but I pray that this blesses somebody. I pray that, you know, whoever's struggling out there, you just feel like your voice is not heard, or you feel you're just in survival mode constantly, lean into God, get closer to Him. and stay close to Him, because times are going to get tougher, and we cannot have. There's an evangelist I follow. She's awesome, and she calls it cupcake Christianity. You cannot be a cupcake Christian. God is going to start to call more people to be bold and to step out. And I'm not saying you have to go and get on a microphone and street preach, but you need to be firm and stand firm for what you believe, and not be afraid to call certain things out, and to really start talking about the hard issues. We are so privileged here in America to have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and it's a blessing, and we need to be able to use all of these resources we have for Christ. So I pray that helps some of you. Be encouraged. Don't be afraid. Just be encouraged and keep pressing on. Stay close to the Lord, and you're going to be okay. So have an awesome day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.